I just want to say thank you
Yes.
for those who have been encouraging us and tuning in. Your words of encouragement have been great for the first 2 episodes. If you like what you say, like it,
Share
subscribe,
it.
and share it with someone else because it's going to be a blessing to someone else's life as well. So we want our story to be encouraging to other people as well.
Right, right. So what we wanted to talk about today is something that we kind of have different views on, and it's talking about balance. And both of us are busy. We're both entrepreneurs. We both work full-time jobs. We have a very busy family. We have very busy lives. But even in the midst of all of that, sometimes people ask, how do you guys balance it all? And I'm of the mindset that it's not about balance. That balance is a myth. Because when you talk about balancing something, you're giving greater weight to something other versus something else. So to me, it's all about choices and managing our choices. What are your thoughts?
And I think differently on it a little bit, just because it's potato to me. And the reason
Tomato.
yeah, whatever side of Harlem you're from, or Brooklyn you're from.
I'm from Brooklyn.
So, when I look at balancing, you looked at it as the greater weight, and mine's is being able to prioritize the equal weights. So when you think of a balance, or you hear the term of balancing the scales, you're just saying, what am I trying to do? Am I giving equal time to certain things? I think it's more about what you said, priority. And I think we come to the center when we all, of the debate, when we say it's about prioritizing. So balancing and prioritizing to me are the same as well, because I'm putting in priority what weight I'm putting on the scale. Not everything deserves my equal attention.
Absolutely not. And that's the whole thing, though. That's how I think sometimes people get that misconception or this notion that I have to balance everything, and we can't balance everything. I think in our lives, with everything we have to going on, like you said, it's a matter of running everything through what is the priority right now. And even in that, people get lost because they don't have a vision for their lives. They don't have a vision for their purpose. So sometimes we find ourselves saying yes to things that might throw us out of whack or out of rhythm. That's how I like to put it.
I like the word you use when you said, when we were talking about it, it says, I think there's a difference between balance and alignment.
Alignment.
And saying that, instead of trying to say balance and alignment, and, I just said about we talk about biblical examples, but we talk about the story where the Mary and Martha issue, and saying, well, Jesus is here. You got Jesus in the room, but then you got Mary sitting at the feet of Jesus.
But we got Martha. We got to get it done.
We have that work,
we're entertaining people. How are you just sitting there when we got 30 people in the house?
And that's just a biblical example, but can you look at that in a natural sense?
Yeah.
Of sometimes you're saying, well, I gotta climb the corporate ladder, but then what's really important is, how much do your children see you?
Yes.
How much quality time do you give your kids? Do they have your attention, or do they feel like they're on the back burner?
On the back burner, right.
Are your children do you look at your children in alignment with your life, or you're looking at your job as the priority and your children are secondary, even though they're both good things, but one should be in a better place, in a better position than the other.
I'm going to give you an example about that.
Okay.
He doesn't know this, so I'm going to tell you about an example about balancing and just making sure that everything is in alignment with vision. No, this is good. It's a good point.
We didn't discuss it, so we're going to figure it out.
No, we didn't. So I wanted to go to Africa this year. And, you were like, okay, if you want to go, you want to go, but then looking at some of I put a deposit down because I was like, I'm going to go. He said, I can go. I'm going to go.
I said, hold on, let's say, I didn't really say you could go.
You were not in agreement. We were not in agreement.
I was like,
totally. We were not total agreement.
I said it didn't fall in alignment this year. Let's say it like that.
But you don't let me finish. I was going to get to that point.
Tell your story.
I was going to get to that point. The bottom line is, it didn't align with the vision that we had for this year. When it came to, we were discussing about legacy and what we wanted to build this year and where were our priorities. And though the trip is something that we would love to do, it wasn't in alignment with our vision for this year. So that's what settled my heart about not going.
Mhm.
So that was it. I was going to give you
Oh,
kudos.
good
I
kudos.
was going to give you a shout
I
out.
take the
And here you go.
kudos for where it is.
I have
No,
to
I
let
just want
you
to put the
know.
addendum in there because
No, we were not.
because it could have looked like in the end was we both wanted to go to
Yes.
Ghana, and I'd rather go to Ghana together. And I believe God's going to get us to go to Ghana one way or the other. But I was just seeing from my side of it was it just wasn't the right timing.
right time.
The right timing.
The
So,
right
yeah.
vision.
Mhm.
What vision should be driving the rhythm of our lives. It should be driving what we say yes to, what we say no to. But when there's no vision, people run amok.
Mhm.
That's what it says.
And it could be a good thing, and that's the
It
thing.
could be,
It
yeah.
could be a good thing, but it
Mhm.
might not be the right thing for this time.
Right.
And and when we're trying to figure out, whenever I speak about Africa, I usually speak about it in alignment of the vision and purpose of where I believe I'm called to go, and
Right.
specifically for me. But you're in there too, and I can't say I'm going to Africa and be like, hey, babe, I'm going to Africa without you. I'm going to Africa, even though you might not have a clue to go when I want to go, but I want to make sure that that's included in the vision,
Right.
and that's added into the vision, so you can make room for it. When things are in alignment, it's almost like a purpose move. When you make it an alignment,
Not almost. It is a purpose move. Yeah.
But when you're making purpose move, you're making space and preparation. So it's never like a spur of the moment thing that you're doing. You're able to put it in and say, we've made room for this to be able to happen. So our treasure, our time, our talent, and our priorities align with that.
Right. I just want you to know your phone stopped, so I don't know what the code is. So the questions are in there. So while he's trying to find my questions, what are the things that, again, when we talk about, having this rhythm in our lives, and because of the things that we have going on, finding that rhythm of rest is also very, very important. And when we talk about having this life of balance, how does that rhythm of rest show up? That wasn't a question, so I'm asking it now.
No, I think rest is important. And I think that people who are workaholics and busy, think rest is being lazy, or rest is, they feel guilty when they take time to rest. But
because that's kind of what the culture says. You got to be hustling. You should be hustling. You should be moving. You should be doing all the things at one time.
Yeah, my wife is a worker. So she's a worker bee. So she works, and she's good at it. She works. But then when it comes to resting, she rests when her body collapses.
Nope, I've gotten better.
You've gotten better. You have gotten better.
I have gotten better.
You have gotten better.
Because of the collapse.
Yes.
Because of the collapse.
There used to be certain times of the year my wife would work consistently all the way through, but November, she would usually break down and get colds and be in the hospital and all those. And I'm the other one.
And it was always November. It's like I could go all year long.
But I have a rhythm.
Come November, I would be like, I need ironing.
And as busy as I am, I make time to get rest. And we're another one of our disagreements is that I make up time. So she doesn't believe I can make up time. But my coach says that you have to make up that time. Your body needs to recover. So you have to make up that time one way or the other.
That is such a fallacy.
That's coming from the worker bee.
Rest. You have to put it into and I've learned to put it into my life because lack of rest, what it cost me. But there is no catch up on rest.
It is a catch up. What it's called recovery. And that's what rest, when you're making up time, it is called recovery. And your body is recovering from the extra use that it was doing. So you can make up the time because it's either one way or the other. You're going to make up the time because your body's going to shut down and force you to make up the time, or you make it a priority and make the time for itself. And again, I think, people who are working, I'm not a workaholic. I will shut down in a second and be like,
No, what's your phrase you used to say?
Which one?
Sweatless victory.
Oh, yeah, sweatless victory. I believe it's sweatless victory.
He would be in the middle of a project, and if he can find I don't want to say quicker necessarily, but a stress less.
No, it's called working. Listen, I believe in working. No, I believe in working smart and not hard. There are some people that love manual labor and they'll just go lift 3 boxes. And I'm like, there's an easier way to do that because I don't have the muscle strength to be doing that and put the tax on my muscles like that. And then I'll be the one looking like I'm sick. I said, there's a way to distribute the weight in a way to do it. I'm always looking for a
He's
better way.
always looking for a better way.
I'm
That
like,
is
that
very
is,
true about you.
and it gets done, and then people love me for it. But it's
Yeah,
like, I'm like,
it'll get
why?
done.
It'll get done, and I don't have to burn extra calories that I don't have to
Other
burn.
people could be sweating. My husband's like, "Nah, I'm not going to be perspiring doing that.
I'm
I will
not.
figure it out another way."
But that's my internal clock saying you're doing too much. You're doing too much. But again, that was talking about, again, priority, being able to say, I do believe in that. We need to recover, because when you're recovering, you have to make that time so that you can mentally be refreshed.
Absolutely.
And I think that a lot of us go from one project to the other project, and we're just used to collapsing. And that's not good for me either. And some people like say, look, well, that's Chris being lazy. No, I don't. I'm not. And as I'm getting older, I find out I don't have the same tolerance
For what?
Doing extra. Like doing extra. I'm just like,
I don't have tolerance for doing extra when it's outside the bounds of what I should be doing. When it throws me out of whack and when it throws me out of season. So case in point, I'm mentoring 6 ladies, right? And I had to seriously say, what do I have to give up in order to be able to do this? And it was an exchange, because I knew I couldn't do them both, but this was important, and it was in alignment with the rhythm of where my life is right now. So I had to give up that to gain this. And, when the program is over, I'll go back to doing what I was doing before in order to make sure I'm maintaining that balance and that alignment.
And there's times, like, I had, even on a church side, I had to learn to do balance on there. There was times where I was in church all the time. And then when it came to me building Champ I Am, I knew that there had to be a season that I can't do every single ministry that I was doing before. So I had to shut some things down. And you're like, that's spiritual, that's church. But no, but this is also just as holy, because it's your purpose and your calling that he told me to do. So I'm looking at the balance of being able to do both on inside and outside the church. So, and I see that happening on both sides, where people are, it's like they're either, I'm going to have the great body and their spirit's weak, or I got, a strong spirit and the body's weak. You got to balance those principles together and make sure that you're making room for that.
And I think one of the biggest lessons that I had to learn going back to rest is, Jesus rested, and who am I? And not that I did it consciously, but there was always, I think, this part of me that is driven. I'm just always have been this way, and I'm driven. I can't let go of something. So that's something that I had to, and I talked about it earlier today when I did a recording, that I had to talk to my therapist. Like, why am I like this? And there really is some things behind when you're that driven that you drive yourself into almost exhaustion.
Yeah.
So again, that's why I had to do some resetting.
Okay. Well, how did you reset?
I had to reset. I had to make a commitment. She made me. She didn't make me. She suggested it, and I took it to heart that I have no boundaries and I have no borders, and I am willing to do whatever needs to be done. But why? Why? And when she made me explore the why behind it, it was like, because I don't want to disappoint, or I didn't want to be thought of as not a team player or lazy. I went through a season at another job where, that was always a thing. She's not a team player. She just does and I didn't want to come across that way. So I was willing to put my body on the line to get things done. But again, that was those 3 years that I ended up in November in the hospital with IVs in both my arms.
Let my body tell me something.
It's like, never mind.
Because the thing about it is, and I learned this, whether it's work or ministry or whatever we do, that I'm not indispensable. So as soon as I get sick enough, and I've watched my job do different things in different times of life, where a person comes with a terminal injury or something like that,
A
a
terminal
terminal illness,
Uh-huh.
and it'll go a couple of months, but then after a couple of months, they're like, oh, right, we're going to have to replace the position, even though they're on disability. Just be like, oh, we'll just give them another
Just keep
slot
moving.
and just move
No,
on.
they
So
will
I
just
realized
move
that I can
on.
put
I
my
do get that.
blood, sweat, and tears in something, and then find out how easily replaceable we are, because the machine's going to continue to go regardless. So,
But one of the things I did have to learn, even what I said, I had to put boundaries in place. Still working on some boundaries and putting them in place, but also reviewing at the end of the week or at the beginning of next week. Everything doesn't have to get done today, Wandreya. And I have to tell myself that everything doesn't have to get. Can I lay my head on the pillow at night and said, I gave it my all? Is God pleased? And that has to be the barometer and the bottom line of how I live my life and how I work.
Yeah. And what you're doing is you're setting standards for yourself.
Yeah.
And I think
Definitely.
I think that's when people are trying to set standards for themselves, it is selfish in a way, because you are protecting that, and you feel guilty being selfish, but you shouldn't be guilty being selfish.
Yeah,
I mean,
that definitely.
it's wrong to be selfless all the time. There's a difference between selfish and selfless.
Oh, yes.
And the problem is when we find ourselves doing all these different tasks for other people, we find that we don't even put the same effort in our life to do what we're doing for somebody else. That's where I get, like, I'm not even.
But
I'm
you
treating
also
you.
have to
I'm treating you better than I treat myself. I'm like,
understand your makeup, and
Yeah.
part of my makeup is because I am an empath. And when I do see something that needs to happen or somebody that needs help, that empath in me wants to help. I got you. What do you need? But even in having those phrases in my vocabulary, I have to now run it through the rhythm of, is this in alignment with what I should be doing right now?
See, I'm an empath with discernment. I hear people throw that word around. I hear empaths, but most people that say they're empaths have very little discernment. I feel very good. I feel what you feel. I see what you see, but there's a dividing line of what my action is, whether I feel like I'm called to fix it.
Whether you're called to fix it.
And that's where I have to be. Where I'm like, listen, that's a little bit too far. We were talking about something the other day where I'm looking at it and I can see the issue in that person. It's like, I want to help that person, but then I have to ask myself, am I equipped to help that person in the way that that person needs? And I think we have to be honest with ourselves and saying, all right, there's a divine line. I want to roll with you, but I can't roll with you because either I'm not qualified or I'm not equipped to handle this, but I can direct you to somebody who can.
Right.
And that's to me that's a better use of being our empathetic self, is being able to see it, but know what resource to give that person. And your life is a resource. Your time and your talent, your giftings, all of that are resources. And I got to make sure that I'm giving the resource to the right person at the right time in my life.
And that's wisdom. And that's the top of my priority.
And that's my gift. So we balance each other out. We balance each other. I'm not, I'm the wisdom. She's the word and wisdom. We got to work together. But I think that's done through practice. That's done through being real with yourself.
And that was the key: being real with yourself and being authentic about not only what your capacity is or is not, but being authentic about where you are in life and in the season and the distractions. If I take on XYZ, first of all, is it in alignment? Is it going to knock me out of rhythm? And if the answer to both of those is no, then I have to ask myself, do I have the capacity? So it's several questions now that I have to run through in order to make sure that I'm keeping everything in. We're saying balance for lack of a better word, but I'd rather say rhythm.
I like rhythm.
I'm keeping everything in.
And I think rhythm is different than balance. So it's different because
it's a flow.
I
want to stay in the flow.
You want to stay in your flow. You don't want to be on the bumpy road. Nope. But here's talking about rest also. I think we have to understand that rest doesn't mean sleep. Like rest doesn't mean that I must sleep the next 8 hours to make up that time.
Absolutely not.
It's not necessarily the quantity. It's also the quality.
And it's the quality of what happens and what is happening in me, in my emotions. Sometimes we get so caught up in, the spirit, which is wonderful, taking care of our spiritual selves, that our souls are depleted. And sometimes the rest comes in, what things do I do today that feed my soul? He laughs at me, but hey, it might be going to Home Depot to get another plant, re-digging it up.
If you
Or
could
it
see what
might
we were
be,
surrounded
don't
by
do that on
outside the
camera.
picture.
Don't do that on camera. Or it might be, me writing, or it might be going for a walk, or there are days when I just ask myself now, what is going to bring me joy?
I like that.
And it's not big things, it's little things.
It's the little things that make a difference. Even when I say resting is, what are you doing during your rest time? You should be reflecting. Just reflecting. I think sometimes when you're moving so fast and so hard that you forget to reflect, that you don't even see the wins and the losses.
That's very true.
Yeah,
That's
so
good.
it's like you don't realize how much you've accomplished over the period of
Mhm.
time, and the only thing you do is you see the bumps of the road, because the bumps of the roads are what? Slowing you down.
Slowing you down.
But you don't see, and you think you're slowing down is failure, but it's
Mhm.
not. Slowing down is trying to get you to slow down.
And that's your perception. And when your perception is skewed, like you said, because I have to slow down, what's wrong with me? I gotta slow down. Our perception gets skewed. And again, we don't then end up fulfilling what we are called to do. Distractions, disruptions, all of those things, they're not meant to tell us to stop completely. Sometimes we've got to stop, recover, recoup, reset, pivot, all those things, and get
Reconnaissance,
back
and
up.
just be able to see what's around you. I think sometimes because we're moving so fast, you're stepping over provision. And sometimes you're looking at the problem and you're trying to attack the problem so much that you're looking forward and you're not looking down and seeing what's around you. Because I believe that I always say provision is for the vision. So when we talk about purpose, we talk about those things, our eyes should be open. We should not be so focused on doing that we don't see the journey that we're going through while we're doing it.
Because it's a beautiful journey. And then sometimes we're so concerned about, are we going to make it? Are we going to see the end, that we're missing the steps along the way, the process? I mean, Pastor Aisha used to always tell me, you hate the process. And I really did. But as I look back now, it was the process that gets you from point A to point B, but you got to stop to appreciate the growth that happened, the ingenuity that came out of the process, the wisdom that came out of the process, and the joy, because there is joy.
And it'll also be able to get you understand the pattern of how you got to that place. So when you sit there and you're working so hard, you don't even know how you got there. I mean, that's a problem. And to be able to say, I didn't get a chance to really even recognize that there was a process because I was just working.
Had my head down.
And I can't reproduce what I did because I wasn't aware of what I was doing while I was doing it, because it just became such a habit.
But I think that's also the time, like you said, why it's so important to take time out and reflect. Not just, this is the vision before me, I have it written down, but having those markers in between, I think that's part of the rest time too, just going through and seeing, where I am, where am I going to be, and to celebrate that whatever the progress is, one step closer, to give yourself that encouragement you need also to stay in the rhythm of fulfilling your vision.
And then there's also the reset. We have to make time to reset. We reflect, we reset, and then we renew the journey. So when you say reset, it's like if you continue just to do and work, it just feels like you're just overtaxing yourself. But when you get a chance to reflect, then reset, it's like you begin anew.
Oh yeah,
it's a new race. It's wonderful to be. I don't like that forever marathon. It's like it's like a forever marathon.
Absolutely
you
not.
got to be able to reset and restart the race again, and then you can start, because when you reset, you're refreshed.
Yes.
And I think that's the part that we need to know, that resting is there so that we can be refreshed and be able to give it all. I don't want to be like at the end of the marathon, I made it to the end, but I'm limping. Someone has to carry me on the cot all the way back home. I'm
limping. I made it though. I made it.
No, but
I got a twitch, but I made it.
In my body, my legs going left and right, But I think that's the journey of being able to know why you're resting. And when you understand why rest is important, it's good. Absolutely. I didn't realize, as I'm starting to work out, you can't work out 7 days a week. You got to give your
Your muscles time to recover.
Because I'll be like you know how I be complaining the next day, like I can't feel
Oh,
my legs.
my legs hurt.
My legs, Claire. My legs.
Oh, babe, my arm hurts. Babe, because it was arm day yesterday. That's why.
Chest. I try to avoid my chest now because it feels like I have a weight on my chest.
Oh,
I'm like, it's a heart attack, Jesus. No, but it's just being able to do that. So I think the point important is that we're talking about balance, and not just balancing. We said balance is not a curse word. It's being able to properly apply the weight
and living in rhythm.
And making sure that you are living in the rhythm of your purpose, and that your purpose is aligned with what your life is. And that when your life is out of alignment, then everything is like your car. If your car is out of balance, well, I found out with your car, it's like they were saying that your balance is one thing, is the weight that's on the tires, but the alignment is different. It's different. So you could have the balance may throw your alignment off. That's as far as I know about cars. But
this is not a car show.
I'm going to sit here and look educated like I do my car. I don't do my car at all.
But the good thing about that is, like you said, those indicators that happen when you're out of balance, when you're out of alignment, when you're not moving on all four cylinders, and you take it to a repair shop, and just like we have a repair shop in this thing called rest. So we can get our tires, what we got to do, it rotated, or more air put in the tires, whatever it is. Why are we using car analogies? I have no idea.
I started it, but I'll give you back. I was at a conference this week in Georgia for like 3 days, and it was like 15-hour days. That's like straight, like, and you know me, like. You know me. You know me.
15-hour day. You put in a 15-hour
days for me is something I like. Listen, I need a break. I need my people meter to just go. But I don't like that feeling because my body.
What was the feeling? Like, explain. What is the feeling? What happens?
With me, it's like my brain is like mush. Like my thought is foggy. It's like, don't get me behind the wheel to drive. I'm like, it's like I don't want to deal with people. I end up being very short, very cross. And I'm like, for a job of being in public, I have to watch myself. So I have to excuse myself to get away from the crowd.
Give me a
my
moment.
Pentecostal finger and be able to
give me a moment.
Give me a moment and go to myself, because to be on from almost 9 to 9, that's a lot. To be able to give all that energy and then come back and then do it again. There are certain times in my life where I have to do that.
Yes.
But then they're like, oh, let's go to the after party. No. They're like, where's Chris at? He's in his room.
He's a hermit.
Because the body is telling me that way. So I have to learn to listen to my body.
But yeah, you have to understand again about the rhythm of your body. What is your body saying? Yes, I have these responsibilities and I'm going to fulfill them. But when my body says stop, you have no problem.
I have no problem stopping. But my people meter is a good thing. I have this thing called people meter. Like, I can only be around people, but for so much. And people think I'm extroverted, but I'm an introvert. I'm a functional extrovert.
You're ambivert. You're both.
Yeah, ambivert, but I'm functional. But I only got maybe a good 6 to 8 hours of being an extrovert. Like when we do on work, they be having these work trips and be like, oh, I work a full day with you, and I'm in here and you done beat my brain up with stuff that I have to do and all that. And they said, all right, we're going to meet down in the lobby in an hour. And I'm going to spend another 6 hours with you. I'm like, they're like, Chris, what's wrong? I'm walking like the streets of New York like a zombie, because I'm like, you didn't give me like 2 hours to reset. And to
but
be
there
able
are those
to do
times
that.
that you can't reset. So you have to make adjustments in the field.
You get my smiley face.
Oh, no. Yeah, we get that face. So fake.
They're like, what's wrong, Chris?
Because you can't hide it.
It's not there. I was like, there.
You can't hide it.
It's not there. But it's and that's, I have times where I have to be on.
You have to be on.
You have to be on. But at the end, now the people that I roll with know my personality. They know it's like Chris's people meter's on. What's your people meter? Like -25. We gotta get Chris out of here. They take care of it. They make room. So you have to. But my priority is to make room for myself, to make sure that I get that time in there. So whether I have to wake up earlier, go to bed. If I go to bed late, I'm waking up and make sure I'm taking time for myself to be able to get this mind down.
But again, that goes back to then finding balance and a rhythm for your day, especially when you know they're going to be long days filled with people. Then how do I prepare in advance? Because you have to show up. You have to show up.
Hmm.
You can't escape it. It's part of your day. But then the question becomes, how do I then make room?
Caffeine.
No, not caffeine.
Caffeine has been my friend, and I'm not a caffeine
No,
person.
are you serious? Caffeine?
Oh man, there's this ketone IQ drink. That's a plug. Uh, it's caffeine. It's like 100 milligrams of
Oh
caffeine. Kept me
no.
going for the day. I was like, yeah, I can feel my brain again, but I don't crash. But you normally when you crash, that's not good for
Yeah,
your
it's
brain
not
either.
good. Yeah. I was
But
getting ready to say, see, I was thinking, you get up a little earlier, so make sure you're spending some quiet time and you're getting yourself together because you know the day ahead of you.
no, because people are still draining the level of my energy from me. So it's not like I have a
No, I'm saying
overflow
before
button.
you meet the
Oh
people,
no, that's what
before
I
you
said.
get
When
to
I
the
get to them,
people.
I'm a full cup. But then when they take, there's only so much I have left.
Oh, I gotta get you into therapy. You
Oh,
need help.
therapies are good. I'm fine. I believe in therapy, but on that part, that's my holy ground.
Yeah. No, seriously, because I know in your industry, both your work industry and your entrepreneurial industry, it pulls on you a
Mhm.
lot. So then how do
Because you're
you
giving out.
function?
So
Because you're
no,
giving
there's
out.
times where
So
I
how
have
do
to
you
go to a
function?
green room and I'll just get my mind out and get into a green room and go someplace. So there are places that I can go to get a little bit where I'm not being drawn into one
Hmm.
thing the other. I try not to make myself too available. And even making sure that I watch how much I volunteer for
Hmm.
when I'm at these different events because one responsibility will overlap the other responsibility. So I try to make sure I spread that out.
Hmm.
But I know this is a green room, and that you got to know yourself, and
Hmm.
and be honest with yourself, and let people know what your standards are,
Hmm.
and they'll make room for you if they're the right people for you.
And I think that's the most important part, going back to this whole topic of how we got, I don't know how we got here, but just having that balance, it starts with knowing yourself
Hmm.
and knowing, as I'm moving towards fulfilling my vision, fulfilling, the purpose for my life, what do I need to discard and what do I need to pick up? So if I am picking up something, I need to evaluate because I know my capacity, I know my people leader, I know all the things about me. So you have to be true to yourself and
Hmm.
true to, what you're able to handle and what you're able to do moving
And
forward.
that's my app theory. That's what I do because I have a whole bunch of production apps that I use, the things
Hmm.
that help me do editing and all these different things. I have a rule that if I pick up an app, I gotta
Delete
discard.
an
I
app.
gotta discard and stop paying because otherwise you'll have yourself paying for some more than what you can afford to do. So
Hmm.
even if it's a good app, it has to be better than the app that I already have. Is it
Right.
feeding me? Is it doing right by me? Is it giving me where I want to go?
Right.
And if I get a new app, I gotta have to let go and discard another app, and that's a sacrifice that you have to make, and that's a decision that you have to make.
Yeah.
But it's based again off of what's the priority, what's the alignment? Is it getting me closer?
Hmm.
Is it making me better? And those are my rules for how I invest in where I need to go.
I think a quote I heard from Dr. Miles Monroe, when it comes to making decisions, especially decisions that might knock you out of rhythm, you always have to ask yourself, is this decision pulling me towards my destiny or towards destruction?
Hmm.
So as long as we keep asking ourselves that, I think we'll stay in rhythm. I think we're going to be
I think
okay.
even the final point is to be able to say that you can't give from an empty cup.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the thing. If you are constantly on empty and not being poured into, that's a part of your refreshing, making sure
Hmm.
that you're getting poured back into. You got to figure out if where I am is a place for me to be.
Hmm.
And are the relationships around me taking more than they're supposed to
Hmm.
be taking from me? And then am I making space for somebody to pour back into me
Into
and
the
me to pour back
absolutely.
into myself? Whether it's vacation time or
Hmm.
whether it's spiritual rest or whatever you have to do, you got to make sure that you make that a priority just as much as
Absolutely.
the work is. You got to
Hmm.
make rest
Rest a
that
priority.
priority.
Absolutely. In agreement.
Well, again, we have come to the end of another Walk It Out with the Hamptons. And again, we want you, if you like what you heard, please connect with us,
Hmm.
subscribe, and share
Share.
this
Yes.
because we could be helping someone else. So again, tune in the next time for episode number 4. Episode number 4.
Number 4.
Number 4.
Yes.
We'll figure out what we're going to talk about then. But until that
We
next
didn't talk
time,
about what we planned to talk about
we
today. We
did.
kind of skirted
We
around
did the
it.
whole thing. Do you feel rested? Do you feel equipped for rest? I did my job. I don't know what she said, but we did
Do
my
you feel
job.
like you're in rhythm?
Do you feel like you have
with the
everything in
vision of your
alignment
life?
with your life? You know, we're talking, walking it out with the Hamptons. It's always a different path. Till the next time.
Talk to you later.
Bye.